Okay, so when I removed the front floorboard that goes from the bottom up to the top inside the cockpit, I saw that this piece here, well, I noticed it even before I removed the board, was only half a piece of metal. It's supposed to go from this side, whoops, I'm just holding it there so you see where it goes. It's supposed to go from there over this side. It was actually attached to this member here that comes down along the frame. So that piece was all rotted over here and I cut it off. It's supposed to go down to the end here with this piece attaching across. Furthermore, because that's really where the normal original seat frame goes. The seats actually sit down at this location here, where you can see what's left of one of the original floorboard bolts, completely rusted solid, that went into this piece. So what they did was they built the new front cross member for supporting the floorboards across here. Again, it's one of those angle irons. It's the farthest forward angle iron, and that meant that there was also this gap between this piece and there. So since I decided it looks like hell and I really should replace this piece, I made a new piece that goes all the way across here, and also I made it wider so that it would reach all the way over to this front cross member, and I can spot weld it to the edge of the cross member, which is down here. Again, that's an angle iron instead of a flat piece like the original. So I'll show you the piece next. Here you can see a cardboard pattern for the piece I made to repair that front cockpit section from left to right. And over on this side is where I told you a minute ago that I cut off the piece that was rotten down in this area, but now I've got solid steel in the replacement piece that will go up to replace it. And it just fits in. I had to make a groove over here so that I will be able to get it in. And I've got a flange in the front of it like this, which will come up and be spot welded in this direction like that to the angle iron that was used for the new seat support. Here's the piece that I made from that pattern. Whoops, I've got it the wrong way around. Okay, that's the way it's going to go in the car. And you can see I had to cut a groove in this one because it's going to go up against an angle iron that has a groove for the lifeline. I made a couple of cuts here when I was doing this bend just because I don't have a brake, and it was quite easy to bend this using a tool like this. Actually, I bent this angle over here first in a vise with a piece of wood backing this whole area, and I used two of these things grabbed along here at the same time, and with the rest of it held in the vise, and that's how I bent this angle here. And that matches the angle of the original piece that came out of the car. That was only a little rusted piece. Then once that was built, I stuck it in a vise, and because I had cut these grooves, it was very easy to bend these things down at 90 degrees like that. And that 90 degree will match up against the piece of angle iron that goes left-right in the car. Okay, so here is the front piece formed and fitted into place. I've attempted to make a little bit of a offset here to get this closer to flush over here. When it's welded in, you won't be able to tell. Matches the bend of the front floorboard support, and it'll be spot welded in. I'll show you what it looks like from underneath. Okay, so this is what that replacement piece looks like underneath. Here's the groove cut through with the back side of the floor of the L part of the angle iron for the floorboard support up against this piece here. I've drilled some holes for plug welding, and up here I fitted it so I can do two plugs up here and a plug up in here also. Okay, so here's a view of the final two clips coming through the frontmost floorboard support. Up under here is the replacement piece that I used to close off the space between the floorboard support and the front toe board or floorboard that goes from bottom to top. As you can see, I've done the welding in here, but I haven't grinded these welds down yet. But it's very solid, all closed now, and a little seam sealer underneath here at the and along all the gaps, and a little cleanup, some paint, and it'll look very nice. And here's a view of the finished toe board support from the inside, including the cleaned up area where I patched the frame. It's all been seam sealed and ready to go for the next step. Okay, so here is the finished toe board support, cleaned up, painted, and welded in place. Nice and solid. Seals all the way up to the front support for the floorboards. And over here to the left, you can see that I have now mounted the battery cable and harness along the lifeline all the way back through the grooves and all the way to the back of the car. I have not yet put in the rest of the lifeline because we've got some more work to do, and that'll come a little later.